All right, y'all. So apparently today, or this week, excuse me, is International Facial Equality Week. It's what it's called. International Facial Equality Week is a week celebrating people who have any sort of facial deformity or pretty much anything that would make their face different. Long story short. So I wanted to come on here and talk about something a little more personal to me. Typically, I don't get personal with you guys, and if I do, it's very like surface level. I try to keep certain things off of here. But however, I think this might be the perfect opportunity to do so. So yeah. So I have a disability called myasthenia gravis. Oh, it did cut the word out at the top there. It's an autoimmune neuromuscular disease. Long story short, the more I use my muscles, the weaker that they become. And I have the rare version of it. I have the musk version there. Um, yeah. I was diagnosed literally a week before I turned 16 years old. I spent the whole entire week in Children's Hospital. There were a number of tests. There were a number of things done to try to figure out what the fuck was going on. And I went through so many MRIs, so many ENTs, so many X-rays. I mean, I can name it. Sonograms. I've had it. With my version of myasthenia gravis, it affects my upper body. So I have trouble with my hands. I have trouble with my face sometimes, my bottom lip, my tongue. When I was younger, I had a hard time holding up my head. And a clear indication that I get infusions every 6 months. So a clear indication that my infusion was wearing off was facial droop. Facial drooping is overall fatigue, muscle weakness, and I mean literal fatigue, muscle weakness. What I mean by that? So for a long time, I used to look like this. And this is back when I first got diagnosed. Um, I have a weak muscle in the back of my eye. Typically, I wouldn't take pictures. I wouldn't get involved with pretty much people. I would avoid taking pictures that would involve the camera being directly in front of my face because you could see how unsymmetrical, how non-symmetrical my face was because of this lazy eye here. And I have to wear glasses that have what's called a corrective prism in them. My big black glasses I wear, I just got my prescription updated because it kind of gets worse as I get older. As you can see here, I don't know if you can really kind of tell, but because I'm looking for it and I know what I'm looking for, I can see it. My bottom lip right here in the corner droops so bad, and it's only like this half of my face. The doctors tried to say that I had a stroke. They tried to write it off as a stroke at Children's Hospital at first, but there was one doctor versus like a whole team of doctors, and that one doctor came in one day and just kind of like, hey, look, they drew so much blood. They drew so much blood. And eventually, he came back and he told me I had myasthenia gravis, which hence the facial droop. For a long time, you could clearly see the facial droop here. The picture is flipped, but you can see the facial droop here. I hated taking pictures of my face head on. And as my infusions start to wear off, you can see, because again, I know what I'm looking at. I don't know if you guys can tell. Like one eye looks droopier than the other, and then my lip just kind of looks like it's pulling to the side there. My mom used to I'll be having a conversation with my mom, and she'll just, your treatment wearing off because your face is drooping. And that just created so much of an insecurity for me. And I understand she was trying to help, but like she doesn't understand like the type of like paranoia she's creating for me. Because now, even though I can understand how beautiful I am, the only thing I can think about is, are other people looking at my face and this facial droop in this eye? And even though to the average person I may look normal, to someone who, again, who knows what I'm looking for, I can see this droop. I can see the squint in my eye. I can see the droop in my head. Now, as I go out and I participate in life, this is a prime example of what happens when I'm out in the heat for too long. The weather definitely does play a very heavy part in what I do. So I have to avoid doing things that are very strenuous, very directly in the sun, using a lot of muscle, whatever the case might be, especially when my infusion is wearing off. Otherwise, I'm going to end up looking like this. And this is like, I want to say maybe like a week before I was receiving my next infusion. But as you can see, like my eyelids would get really weak. There's times where obviously my bottom lip gets weak. So if I try to eat something with a spoon, it might fall directly out of my mouth if I don't pull it out a certain way, or my tongue will just stop moving. And then I kind of start slurring my words and mumbling when I talk. I only really show like my natural side to people in my family. I've learned to do certain facial movements or pose at certain angles or do certain things to try to counteract or cover up the fact that my infusion is wearing off so that way people really can't tell. Although I've never actually had someone, aside from my mother, look me dead in my face and tell me like, oh, what's wrong with your face? Or this is happening with your face. It was always like that background paranoia. As the fatigue starts to settle in, you can see heavy ass bags under my eyes. I just got my infusion like what, Friday? So it's starting to fill in. I definitely got my energy back now, but this is it's very similar as to what I'm gonna look like. Especially if I'm, once the infusion wears off, I'm not supposed to be doing too much moving, too much heavy lifting, anything strenuous, anything along those lines. But girl, I gotta get these bills paid. I was at work doing like I don't know what the fuck I was doing, but you could see my lip right there going crazy. And I hate this picture with everything in my power. It's actually really nerve wracking to be making this video because I'm scared people are going to start pointing it out now. And I never really like bring attention to it for real. But I'm glad that this opportunity presented itself. As I've gotten older, I finally learned, I stressed out on learning how to do lashes because as you can see with lashes, being that I have a weak muscle, like my eyelids literally get fucking weak. When I wear lashes, like, I don't know how to explain it. You can kind of see it here. Even though this lash is literally curved upward, it's hard for me to put on lashes because my lashes, my fucking eyelid gets weak. So like, as I'm applying them, I try to hold my eye straight and then put it on, and then it doesn't work how it's supposed to. And then I try to curve it, but then my eyelash gets weak, so it literally gets in my like line of sight, if that makes sense, because my eyelid is weak and I can't hold it open. And then essentially the lash, depending on how heavy it is literally heavy on my eyelid. As I've gotten older, I've learned to make this side the money shot. Don't judge my eyebrow, bitch, I fucked up. But I've learned to, even though I do have a weak muscle in this eye, we can use it to our advantage. We can give a sort of vixen look, a little dangerous look, you know what I mean? We can hide it. It doesn't have to be something that is a disability. It doesn't have to be negative. Like, we can make it work. And I've learned over the course of years, if people are going to be noticing this discrepancy or whatever about my face, the least I could do is make it cunt. Like, I'm not ugly. I just have a struggle. So let's try to work with it. You know what I mean? So if you ever see me pulling one of these, at first it was to hide the fact that my face looked like that. But now, because I just think it's fly as fuck. Overall, moral of the story, love yourself. I've gotten so comfortable being in my natural face, being in my natural element, being my natural fucking everything. I'm coming on here with a big ass gap in my eyebrow, bitch. Love yourself because there's only one you. And no matter if you have any sort of disability or whatever the case might be, doesn't mean that you don't still have a personality. So be yourself. If you look different, so what? That don't mean you're not flying. You're just different. But happy International Facial Equality Month to everybody. I hope that you guys love yourself and make good choices and drink water.